Hello! This week's episode has a few finished objects and I'll show you some progress on my Nighthawk, slipover and also some swatching for future knits. Hope you'll enjoy it. Hello crafty friends and welcome. This is Hanging On by a Thread podcast and my name is Silja. This is my space to talk about the crafty things I do and I am publishing bi-weekly now, so that seems to be working a lot better for me. I hope it works out for you as well. So hello, thank you so much for watching. I've really enjoyed to see the past couple of weeks that there's been a bit of a influx of new viewers. So hello, welcome. I'm really happy to have you here. And if it's the first time you're watching, welcome as well. Feel free to subscribe and all that love, you know, like, and if you by the end of the episode actually enjoyed it, of course. Feel free to leave if you don't. Okay, so today, as you can see, let's just jump right into it. Or should I just mention, yeah, I'm coming to you from a small village just outside of Trondheim in Norway. So it is a Norwegian summer, which means it is completely overcast, 13 degrees Celsius and a bit drizzly. So of course it is perfect knitwear season most of the year. So aren't you happy you're a knitter? I know I am. Today, as if you're a returning viewer, as one says, you can see that I am wearing something. Yes, it's massive. It is my failed Skye pullover. After a brief chat with my mom and, you know, complaining of my misery with the failed jumper, I put it on and I was absolutely swimming in it. And she said, why don't you just cut it up and make it a cardigan? That would be cozy. I'm like, yeah, that's an excellent idea. So I just went ahead and did that. And I thought, since I was doing that anyways, I might as well record a little bit of the process and then do a vloggy insert about here. As you can see, I am sharing the work table here with the 5-year-old's Lego projects. But I'm excited to get on with this, and I thought it would be a nice thing to share with you guys on the podcast that I am fixing my Skye by essentially making it into an oversized cardigan, because it when I put the jumper on, it came to below my buttocks, and then yeah, that is a cozy sweater, but I don't throw on a sweater to... Well, my mother had the excellent idea of it becoming a nice cardigan, so we're trying to do that. I am reinforcing this steek with just one line of crochet. I'm doing it because I've never steeked Rowan felted tweed before and I don't really know how it's going to behave. Although having unraveled the neckline, I think it's going to pretty much stay in place because it was grabby. It was hard to unravel. So I am doing a single or a slip stitch line, and I'm doing it in the contrasting colors, so it's just easier to see where I'm going to be cutting through. And it takes a bit of time because of the stitch pattern, but I think it will be cool. So this will become a cardigan. So I have no idea if this is the correct way of crocheting the reinforcement. I'm just kind of doing it this way so I can have it in the front. And I'm going through both legs of the stitch. I don't know if that is visible. So I'm pulling my needle, my hook, through both stitches, or both legs of a stitch, and pull it through. And I haven't done it this way before, so let's see how it goes. I should be able to stick this. On the back side you can see hardly anything. I still have threads to fasten, and I mean, this needs to be grafted under the armholes. I've just not finished anything because I was still thinking that I might unravel the whole thing. But I have I undid the neckline, and I did another round of decreases, and then also I changed to a slightly smaller needle so that it will pull the neckline tighter. And then I did 14 stitches across here, and then 3 to get a bit of a raised neckline. It was already quite wide, and I like the height in the front here, but now it's just a little bit more turned up. Okay, should we just steek it then? So I like cutting my steeks with my fabric scissors. I hardly ever sew, so if it's bad for them to cut this kind of fabric, I don't think so. This is wool, not paper. So let's just check I'm not cutting the other layer. And let's keep to the middle here. Just like the heft, I feel like it's a more precise cut. And I'm aiming for the center of these stitches. I mean, it's a steek, I don't need to necessarily cut bang on between every stitch. It's kind of needless. It's gonna unravel a little bit no matter what you do. But I think this Rowan felted tweed is nice and grabby. Oh, and another thing that I did with the Skye sweater conversion, it had you changing the thread, like that was happening in the middle of the back as how the pattern was written. So of course, since it was symmetrical back and front, I just decided to have that color change at beginning of round be the center front. So since it had a bit of a jag to it anyways, that's a flaw that will now be hidden by it being a cardigan and having a button band. So that's pretty cool. And with the big scissors, it's so satisfying, that crunch sound. Can you hear it? Okay, now I'm up here. There we go. Cutting through my color work. I mean, you better be sure that you want to do this, because once you've cut it, you can't unravel it, because you'll just be left with a bunch of short ends. So if you're knitting a cardigan and you think you might want to unravel it for some reason in the future, you're better off knitting it flat so you don't have all of this. It's just going to be a bunch of scrap yarn, isn't it? And that's it. It is now technically a cardigan, and I didn't mess anything up. And I think this is sturdy. I mean, for cardigans, I like, and I hadn't used this yarn before, but I think it is pretty grabby. I wouldn't, if it was just color work or just flat, I would just cut, I think. Might not even reinforce it, but because of my loose gauge on this section, I was afraid it was gonna just fray too much. So what I've had happen in the past when I've got the steek is too small or narrow, or I didn't reinforce it. Now for the next step, when I'm picking up the stitches along here, that's when this edge starts to fray a little too much for my liking. See here, right here. So it's for these kind of things. So that has frayed a little too much for me, for my liking. But the steek is stopping it from unraveling further. So that's why we steek. And this being a very busy stitch pattern, and if I had planned this and I was going to make it a cardigan anyways, I think I would have knit this like a seed stitch or some lines in the middle, so it would be easy to pick up stitches along. But it would be a bitch to pick up stitches and make sure they're straight if I didn't already put this line in. Now I can pick up stitches on the top side. On the top side of this, I'm just going to go in here between the steek and the next stitch in and pick up from a button band. Then this will naturally just kind of fold in the steek. It's kind of doing that already. It folds it in because of the way we picked up. Okay guys, let's try on. Oh goodness, this is such a messy house now. It's a cardigan, and you can see how huge it was as a sweater, but as a cardigan, I think this will be quite nice. Of course, I'll be adding the neckline a little bit, and then see how long the arm sleeves are. So I hope you enjoyed that. It was a bit on my thinking. Hopefully I did a decent enough voiceover at points and things there. Did I? I don't know. I haven't done it yet. So whatever future Silja's told you, this is now the final result. I really should do a full figure shot of this, shouldn't I? If I can squeeze it in the afternoon, I will do that and insert later, because this weekend my little baby boy has got a fever, so it's not ideal to be recording today, but as you do, he is currently sleeping a nap, his morning nap. He was exhausted, poor thing. So I just kind of jumped to it and like, okay, let's set everything up and get this recording done and have a nice little chat with you guys. And then just keep momming the rest of the day. So, okay. Skye now, previously the Skye pullover is now the Skye cardigan. And I think it turned out quite nice. I mean, the sleeves are still very long, but it is much more wearable now. I did the button bands in a seed stitch, and I think that looks quite nice. It melds nicely with the with the texture of the body, which has of course flattened in the block. It's actually quite I soaked it on Saturday, it's now Monday, and it's been laying flat on a rack, but since it's 13 degrees and rainy, it hasn't really dried out very nicely yet, so it's still a bit humid. But as you can see, it has kind of, it's blocked up nice. It has relaxed the fabric, and oh my gosh, it is super soft and cuddly, this Rowan felted tweed. I think it has hit my favorite list of yarns to use, especially in the fuzzy fluffy category, because it is lovely. It is, I want to say it's merino. Is it merino? Merino, alpaca, and viscose, which is bamboo. So I don't think it has any nylon or plastics in it, but I might be wrong, and I do not have a ball band at hand, or do I? Let me check. I keep having to put all the ball bands away because the baby toddler, he really takes them. He steals all my ball bands and they get eaten. They're paper mache by the end. So, okay. Let's assume I was right on this. So I've done a few adjustments. I did raise the back a little bit to make it come in here. If you remember the previous episode, I talked about the Skye and showed it was insert information there. And I didn't have enough yarn to finish it. I did order one more ball. I ordered it from the same yarn shop, and I am pretty sure they still had the same lot. I didn't actually check if it was the same lot, but there is absolutely no difference in color here between this duck egg and this duck egg. So I had enough for finishing off the neckline, raising it, and adding the ball bands. Not the ball bands, because I was talking about the ball bands and the baby. That's why I said ball bands. Button bands. I have not yet sewed in buttons because I do not have buttons to go for this. I need to make a browse through my local button shop, which is MS Summer in Trondheim. It's a beautiful little haberdashery. If you're close by, if you're visiting Trondheim, check it out, look it up. I think it's MS Sumner. Anyways, excellent shop. I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 buttons. An even number of buttons. Seems I made it an even number of buttons. That's weird, isn't it? Is it just me that needs to have an odd number of buttons? Anyways, they're evenly spaced. And I with the seed stitch here, it almost doesn't show the buttons holes, so I could get away with using it with no buttons on it for a while anyways. Yes, I will try to cut in some full figure shot here because it is very loose. I'd say I've got, in the end I've got I've got about 20 centimeters of positive ease, and it goes to just below my buttocks. So it is definitely an oversized cardigan. But as you might remember, I have been droning on about needing more cardigans, and specifically cuddly cardigans to throw on in the morning, and now it seems I'm gonna have several like that. This one by accident. I'm knitting on a test knit that is also an oversized cardigan, and yeah, and I know I have like 2 more in my head that I have a yarn for and need to cast on at some point this winter, which are both on fat needles, so there'll be a breeze. They'll be like those easy knits. They're plain stockinette or like an easy rib pattern. One is the unbensel one that I talked about previously, and I have swatched for it. I think it was just called Rib Draglan. I still want to knit that. And the Grow. And I think I've landed on a yarn combo for that. So both of those are like peripheral knits, if you can call it that. I don't know what else to say about this cardigan. Oh yeah, if you haven't heard me talk about it before, of course I will mention this is the pattern I've used is the Skye pattern by Marie Wallin. It is in the North Sea collection, which you can buy the booklet off her website or maybe in your local yarn shop. And the pattern is also available for purchase, download and single purchase on both Ravelry and Lovecrafts, I believe. So you can get it there. I obviously did not swatch for this, and I just cast on and knitted along, and I have made a yeah, this is not to gauge, so I basically knit the size 3 and probably ended up with size 5 or something thereabouts, I think. Anyways, something I was really miserable about a few months ago, I am now really pleased with. So it just goes to show, just don't immediately burn it when you feel like you've utterly failed at something that you should have known better. You should have swatched or whatever. Just let it sit and be ashamed for a while, and then just pull it out every so often and think, what can I do to make you better? And show it to friends that care, or mothers or fathers, or you know, it works. Oh, and for those who wants to know, I ended up not knitting a stick cover. I did a whip stitch to hide the loose ends, the frayed, because I cut it up. I cut it up and I wanted to fasten the frayed edges because it looked really cruddy. And then I managed to kind of tack down all the frayed little ends by just doing a whip stitch in the duck egg. And it looks a lot neater. It's not perfect, it has some, but this will, with a bit of wear, it'll felt down and just become immovable. So I'm not sure if I should wear this. It's actually a little moist now. My body heat is, well, blocking it. This is body blocking. This is gone from being a wet block to a body block. So it will mold to my shape now. That could be a thing. Yes. But, dear friends, the Skye cardigan is not the only finished object I have to show this week. See, doing a bi-weekly thing gives me just more time to relax and finish stuff. And also have time to be distracted with life and admin and stuff. Okay. Yep. So I have finished the Timothy pullover for my son Emil. I think I did post a photo on Instagram of it, and yeah, it's just a little pullover for my son. This is probably gonna blow out the camera with this. And as you see, it's blocked out very nice. The panel of lace or lattice stitches. I don't know what that is. It's a sort of a cable. It comes out looking like it's woven, which is quite nice. Yeah, I like that. And just plain stockinette in the back. The sleeves are in stripes, 2 colors, and I have done them, you know, inverted the colors on the sleeve so they look the same, kind of, but not. Which I had this weird desire to just use up exactly the same amounts of colors here. So I think this could be a nice little hat, this leftover yarn. I could make him a matching hat or something with this. Yeah, fairly accurate, the yarn needed that was listed in the pattern. And as you can see, I went with yellow buttons and the neckline in the grey as well. Because since I inverted the sleeve stripes, it didn't make sense to, like, if it had been blue on both sides, I think I would have continued that color and done a blue neckline. But I think it worked out quite nice like this. And it fits. It's just the right size for this coming winter, and it will be excellent kindergarten knit. It's knit up in Sannes, I think it's, yeah, Sannes Garn Sisu, which is just their standard superwash virgin wool with a bit of poly or nylon, I'm not sure, but one of those. It is meant for, it's usually, they have a lot of their children's design patterns made in this yarn. So it's supposed to be a durable yarn, and it actually hurts your fingers trying to rip it up when you need to change a color or something. So I actually went and snipped it with a scissor on this, which I normally don't do because I usually knit in a woolen spun 2-ply. Yeah. But this is a fingering, lovely. It became very soft, and I think Emil will love wearing this. It was knitted around, but in pieces. So these raglan sleeves are seamed on. They were seamed on there, so I've just done a, as you can see on the inside here, I've just knotted it, the color change. And then I've just seamed. Don't remember what stitch I used. I probably just did a mattress stitch. That's what I usually do to join sleeves. It's fairly neat. Could have been neater. And I remember saying something when I'd been knitting the body section only that I had like it was uneven or something and I would fudge it. Honestly, I don't even remember what that was, and when I was picking up stitches around the neckline, didn't matter, it was completely fine, and even seaming up the lining up and seaming the sleeves on was fine. So maybe I didn't make a mistake, it just looked wonky because of the cable things. But two FOs this week, so I'm really happy about that. So that brings us along to my whips. What have I got whipped up this week? Several things. Last week I was, not last episode, last week. This is a bi-weekly now, remember? So last week I was knitting along on my Nighthawk vest. The Nighthawk vest is what I'm knitting for my fairisleVestKAL, which I'm trying to run. I'm trying to run, well, here. And oh, I completely forgot. No, I'm not going to show you this time, but I have some plans for prizes. So the Nighthawk VestKAL hashtag on Instagram, and I have also managed to open up a Ravelry group. Yeah, I know that's kind of a, there's not much going on there, but there is a thread open if you want to share stuff on Ravelry. If you don't usually use Instagram, that might be a better place for you, and vice versa. So yeah, my handle is Silmoa. I'll put it here, Silmoa, on both Instagram and Ravelry, and I've just 2 weeks ago, I think I opened the Hanging On by a Thread group on Ravelry. We'll see what happens with that. I'm not a huge fan of the Ravelry forums. I think they're kind of hard to keep track of, but as a conversation, they're kind of shit. But for like posting finished objects and stuff, they're fine, because if you're using Ravelry, then you can just link to your project and stuff. And as I said, if you're not, just post to the hashtag on Instagram. Let me know if neither of those options are cool for you, and we'll try to figure out something. Okay, so I've cast on for my Nighthawk slipover, which is this one by Wilma Malcolmson. I've ended up knitting it in a colorway of my own, which is this one here. This sample is now blocked, so you can see how the yarn. So I don't think I showed the blocked sample before, but this is the colorway I'm knitting. It is Rauma Finull and Jamieson's of Shetland Spindrift mix. Those yarns combine really well and they work together beautifully. Sometimes the Rauma yarn can feel a little thicker than the Jamieson's, but I found that varies a little bit from yarn to yarn. So sometimes I think the spin is a bit thicker. I have no idea why that happens, as some colorways feel plumper for some reason. Maybe it's the ones that are really like strong dyes, like have bright colors, because they have maybe been washed more. I am making stuff up. If you know stuff about how the spinning is done at the Rauma factory, please feel free to inform both me and maybe other interested viewers down in the comments below. So yeah, so I've gotten this far. I've gotten through my first 2 bits. I think it's looking pretty cool, and I think it's going to be a beautiful vest that I am actually going to wear. So I'm using 3 different shades of like sheep white and light greys from Rauma as the background, and all the contrasting colors are Jameson's Spindrift. Let's see, I've got, is it this one? Yes, so I've got these three for the backgrounds. This is the Finull colors that are completely blowing up my camera. Don't sing song, Celia. There you go. So that is the I think it's called Neutral, and this is light gray, and this is very light gray. Okay, let's see. This one has a thing in it. So the darker gray is 0404. This one has none. I don't know if this is... It's not the light gray, this is the light beige, I think, like, or a very light beige. It's kind of a heathered neutral, so it feels more like it's this neutral, slightly heathered gray. And then this one's just light gray. And yeah, and then I have for the contrasting colors, I've got Yellow Ochre, Autumn, and I just love this one. The autumn color is the one that's tying all of the other colors together, and this is what I have left of my burnt umber. I am waiting for a new couple of balls to arrive, so that's the burnt umber. And it is for blending the colors, like here. As you can see, it's that autumn color, which is the one that's more greenish, that is tying together both the burnt umber and the yellow ochre, because it has specks of both of those colors in that wool. And it will blend beautifully with greens and yeah, lots of stuff. I love this. Love this color. Gorgeous. And that's it. So yeah, this is as far as I got on it before. Basically, I could probably knit 2 more rounds before I would have to stop anyways, because I've got 1 round of the natural color to come do, and then a round of the grey, and then I really need the burnt umber for that little round that's grey stripe. Okay, so let me know if you are joining in on the KAL. That would be a lot of fun, and please show your progress. I am so curious to see if if you're planning to come on board for the KAL, then just, you know, I want to see. It's so much fun to see other people's progress. Yeah. Okay, so I did make a plan on the KAL thing. Yes, I did make a plan on when is like the cutoff point for it, and I did post a post on my Instagram with the details on how to join, and also on the Ravelry group. So I'm thinking you can submit your finished objects or progress, or should they be finished? I think it should be finished, right? So 2 things. There will be a really, really nice prize for finished object, and then there will also be a smaller prize for participation. So I'm thinking by October 10th to have submitted something either on the Ravelry thread or the hashtag. So if you submit a finished object, I'm thinking to do like a color work kit of some sort. I'm still mulling over exactly what it should be, but it will be a really nice price, I think. And for participation, you can I will also pull a couple of prizes depending on how many participate. So actually, if there's not that many submissions, higher chance of winning, guys. Okay, where was I going with this? Yes, prizes. I will pull for prizes on October 10. Yes, and then I will announce winners on the following podcast, which is like, yeah, you know how it is. I will probably say this again in the future before I actually do so, so don't need to run, get a pen or make a note of this. I'll tell you again at some point. So that was it for the Cal and the Nighthawk progress. And actually it's going really fast. I was zooming along on that one until of course I ran out of yarn. This involuntary hiatus on that one. Next I am trying to swatch for things. So I think I mentioned in the previous episode that I am joining in on the A Year of Marie Wallin Cal that is run by Knitting with Cat Hair. Hi Nikki, if you're watching. And I started swatching for that yesterday. And I'm in a phase where I really wanna knit everything. Because I know I have stuff in progress, but having completed a couple of things and being this close to completion on other things, they feel like they're running smooth. I'm like, there's room for more. I need to cast on more. I need to cast on all the things. And I'm really trying to not cast on all the things, because I know I'm gonna struggle with that, and I do have some I need to finish. Sorry, now I'm just rambling and thinking out loud. I was going to talk about swatching. Yes. So, also stay on topic, Celia. Come on. Swatching. So, I've just stuck some of the contenders of colors into the box of color work, which is not a fancy box. It is an old shoe box, and the lid is starting to rip. Were they sandals? Who cares? Okay. So, baby must have been crying because that's not acceptable. So this is the beginning of my swatch for the Yell cardigan. For the Marie Wallin knit along, I am considering two options. One is the Yell, and the other is the oak color cardigan. So the Yell is from the Shetland magazine, which I already have, and the oak is from Wildwoods, I think. At least I've ordered Wildwood's booklet from a yarn shop out in Bergen. It's the Norwegian Spirit, I think. They're the only one that has Marie Wallin books. I might be wrong, but they do have Marie Wallin books, so you can order them up there. They also have the British breeds. So while I was window shopping for the pattern, because in the end I was like, I can buy just a one-off pattern of Ravelry and I'll have that pattern. But I really enjoy having the book, and I know that I would like to knit some of the other patterns in that book at some point. So I might as well just buy the book. Anyways, I started because the British breeds yarns there look so beautiful and the colors are so gorgeous. I put all of the yarn needed for the yoke into the basket, and oh my god, it's expensive. I mean, I've got my birthday coming up on Thursday this week, but I couldn't justify it. I just couldn't, not while I have other yarny bits coming. And yeah, but at some point I really want to try that yarn because it looks luxurious, and by all accounts it smells amazing. And yeah, it's just, I'm not knocking Norwegian yarns. I think they're lovely and they have a lot of good qualities. It's just, I don't know what's going on over in the UK, but the yarns are amazing. And they're so hard to get here. And I'm talking about the different sheep breeds and their fleeces. And I really want to try them on because one of my favorites is the blue-faced Leicester. I like the longer staples and the more smooth and silky feel. And I've also, some of the American yarns are amazing and they're hard to get. So yeah, just, you know, general fleece and wool nerding, right? Where was I going with this? Anyways, yes, British breed, beautiful, so expensive. Wow, yeah. And I don't think it's ever going to come on sale, so... Anyways, and my other favourite yarn is the Shetland Spindrift, the Jamieson's of Shetland Spindrift, and it's also hard to get. Jamieson & Smith is a bit easier. I know at least one supplier in Norway, which is Garn Boutique in Fortuna, but I do think they have a very limited stock of colors. And then you have a Swedish online store, which is 60 garnernord.se. Instead of 60 degrees north, it's 60 yarns north. It's clever. It's very clever. And I really, it makes me smile every time I read it. They have just about all of the colorways, I think, from Jamieson and Smith, which is a good substitute, but they don't have all the heathers, which is my all-time favorite. If it's always the heathers, it just is. So I've got another package coming from Jamieson's and Smith. No, Jamieson's of Shetland. But it's been underway for about 10 days now, so I think it's probably stuck in customs again. Even though I ordered a lot less yarn than the previous shipment. So I'm going to be annoyed if I have to actually pay taxes on this one. Anyways, tangent. Do you want to see the swatch so far? So I have substituted a couple of the colors and ended up with a very, it's not finished yet, but it's underway. This is a kind of a blue and cool toned colorway so far. I switched out, so I've taken the yarns I had in stock and substituted colors. So instead of the paprika colorway, which is the red one, I've used a blue, and instead of the moss, I've used fern for the green. I do have moss, but I wanted a cooler palette, so I went with the fern instead of the moss because I wanted to use the moorland, this green, and I think that goes better with the fern than it does with the moss, which has a lot more yellow in it. And I've also taken out the yellow ochre, which the yellow ochre goes well with the moss because of the yellow in it, and just went for repeating some of the light grays. And I've substituted the blue Lovett which actually I do also have. The Blue Lovett is a greenish hue, so it goes really beautifully with the Moorland, for example. But I've replaced the Blue Lovett with the Moorland. And now my baby is calling, so I'll have to pause this so quickly. I'm now whispering. I don't think I need to. But yeah, I had talked about replacing some of the colors. So I've taken out, like this stripe here is supposed to be yellow ochre and the contrast color Blue Lovett. It is now grey and Moorland. Oh, and this is the same, the bramble I had, so I'm keeping that. I love that color. I don't have the laurel color, which is a lovely, lovely pale green, but I don't have it, so I have substituted with lichen, and I really love green and purple together. I think that's always a lovely color combination. And then of course I am trying to follow the the colors so that the shown in the chart. So this band I'm working on now is repeating the blue, which I think is Pacific, that dark blue is Pacific, and the Moorland. And I think Moorland and Pacific kind of goes very nicely together. So it's more of like a classic color blend than it is as shown in the pattern. For the yell, I can show you. So I'm talking about this section here. So instead of blending colors, Marie Wallin is here kind of contrasting them and making the background and foreground color changes really obvious on those. There's two bands that have that, you know, the color background and foreground changing. The rest are kind of just two color bands. So I'm changing those out. And I think that could, once I'm done with that, it'll probably be a decent colorway. But you know what? I'm gonna swatch another one because I have this idea in my head of making a grayscale one. So I'll have 4 different shades of grey, and then on certain places I'll shoot through one color, either on the background or on the foreground color, depending on what makes sense. So maybe shooting through 2 shades of gold or something like that. I like that idea. So I'll have like a grayscale, black and white, silver main with some gold shot through. So I'm gonna complete this swatch because I'm really curious to see how that is. And then I'm gonna do a black and white swatch, grayscale swatch, and maybe I'll do one also with some autumnal tones. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Depends. If I fall in love with either of the other swatches before I do the other swatch, then there's no need for more swatching. If you fall in love, then that's it, right? Ah, yeah. And there's so many good things to knit from this booklet. And I am really loving the cal for this as well. Nikki set up like a chatter thread on Instagram, and it's really nice. It's enjoyable to have a chat with the other participants, and it's much more casual than posting in a forum, you know. So that's nice. Oh, okay. I think that is it for today. I've talked about swatching. Oh no, I didn't show you this one. I've had an urge to swatch for Velamo, whatever you want to pronounce it. It's from Pom Pom magazine. I think you can probably recognize the wavy forms. I have had the need, I've like kind of had it in my eye for a long time, and I just wanted to swatch for it and see if what I had in stash might do. I think this is all Hillesvåg pelt wool. These are all Sølje, I believe. So it's the yellow, the natural grey, and pink, I think. Maybe this was just because I had to do the stitch pattern. I just had an urge because to scratch that itch, as I say. Otherwise I might have ended up casting on the whole full sweater and not been happy about it. But now I can mull it over. And I have so many ideas in my head now, and on how to work and organize my projects a little bit more. Not better necessarily, but since knitting and crafting is such a tactile hobby, I thought I should try to keep track of it in a different way and not just have everything digital, and what to do with my swatches and all that. So I think I'll talk more about that in a couple of weeks' time, because maybe I'll have even organized a little and I'll have something to show you, not just mind blurbs. Alright, well, thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, you watched me ramble on for a whole episode, so thank you for that. If you enjoyed the episode, please give it a like. If you haven't subscribed already, do so, and do that bell thingy so you get notified when there's a new one. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!